This is me 7 years ago. I am 50 and I weigh less than 60 kilograms. I was tall and skinny with a big head of hair, so people often called me lanky, which if you were someone like me, this is a phrase that you're all too familiar with. So I decided to make a change. My friend and I decided to sign up to the local bodybuilding gym, which was just over the road from our school, and I quickly realised I am out of my depth. This is one of those classic bodybuilding gyms. Mosaics of gorillas squatting on the walls and 24/7 footage of golden age bodybuilders on the monitors that are around the gym floor. It wasn't perfect, but it was an introduction into the world of bodybuilding and the gym in general. But this didn't last long. I would attend this gym maybe once every week for 3 to 5 months. And then after that, I wouldn't join the gym for a very long time. And this on and off pattern would be an issue that I would run into many times along my bodybuilding and fitness journey. Short spurts of motivation followed by periods of inactivity where I lacked discipline. I lacked discipline when the going got tough, but there was one way of motivating me that always worked. One way of ensuring consistency. One way that always made me push through adversity. And that was always working out with a gym buddy. Similar to when I first signed up to a gym, I signed up with a friend. And now, years later, after I'd stopped going to the gym, my friends and I all agree to work out together in a different gym that has more beginner-friendly machines and a more beginner-friendly culture. And this is where I see the first real stint of progress. This is where I start to really start having fun in the gym and when I start to notice some gains. We would go multiple times a week, always having a laugh with one another, always pushing each other to try and do more weight, to do more reps, always trying to, push each other to reach our goals. I remember genuinely really enjoying this part of my bodybuilding journey. But this period would reach the same fate as when I first stepped foot in that first gym. The group started to disband little by little. People started to get different friend groups. People started to go to different gyms. Circumstances pulled us away from one another until it was just me. And coming off the high of being in the gym and really loving it and having that sense of brotherhood and that sense of progress and having genuine fun, going to the gym alone just wasn't cutting it for me anymore. It didn't have the same feeling, it didn't give me the same amount of motivation, and eventually, after a number of months of slowly going to the gym less and less, I ended up cancelling the membership because I simply wasn't using it enough, and I went back to my old ways. Apart from there was 1 week where I went back in the gym, and that was because one of my friends wanted to start going, and I already had all this experience, so I'm showing him around the gym. I'm showing him what machines to do, how to do them, how you want to do it more slowly on the eccentric. And it's during that week that I realized that I actually have a deep passion for helping others in the gym, for helping others in their fitness journey, and for helping others to build a body that they're confident of. But I didn't act on this information just yet. I stayed out of the gym, losing my gains little by little, week by week, month by month. I get to 19 years old and I've finished college. It's now time for the real world. I think to myself, what is it that I'm going to do with my life at this point? At this point, I wanted to go into film, but the film course that I did really drained the life out of me, and it made me not enthusiastic at all about going into that field. But there was one thing that I did remember loving during this period, and that was when I showed my friend around the gym. So I think to myself, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a personal training qualification and I'm going to build my life from there. I see a listing for a lifeguarding job from the last gym that I was going to. I go in there, I do the interview, and they promise me, oh yeah, we'll get you qualified. We will pay for the qualification. You will choose what you want your course provider to be, and it will only take, 4 weeks, and we'll actually pay you to go as well. We'll pay you to take this course. So I accept this job offer with the hopes of a new start. I'm working 9-hour shifts from, I think it's 5:45 a.m. to 2:45. I'm having McDonald's every single break because you just don't have the energy to do any meal prep after a shift like that. I'm watching over a pool, a job that I didn't even want to do anyway, and I'm responsible for all of these people's lives and these people's health. I'm responsible for these people's lives, and I'm getting paid minimum wage for it. but it's okay because I get the gym for free and they're going to pay for my PT course. Alright, I'll endure it. One of the positives from this period is that this was the first time when I was truly disciplined and motivated to go to the gym. It was a lot easier for me to ease myself into that lifestyle because every time that I finished a shift, I was always in the gym. The gym was literally right there. So after all my shifts, I would be low on sleep. I would be absolutely knackered. I'd be tired. I would be absolutely exhausted, but I would still be in the gym for an hour, 45 minutes, just putting in the reps, putting in the work. And the best thing about this period is I was working out by myself consistently, which was something that was new to me up until this point. I'd gained some discipline. I had learnt the importance of routine and scheduling and trying to make the best workout routine for myself. I learnt that progress is made through repeated action, through delayed gratification. I started learning about all of these things. I hadn't quite got my diet down yet at that point, but I had learnt the importance of consistency and showing up when it's just you. With this newfound confidence, I turn to my employer and I say, hey, so what's the deal with my personal training course? They turn to me and suggest the only course of action is that I take a 2-year apprenticeship with them instead of the 4-week qualification where I chose whatever provider I wanted. No, that wasn't on the table now. They suggested that I take an apprenticeship, which is basically something where they can lock me down for a 2-year contract, I can stay there, I can work for them, and they might even be able to pay me even less because you get paid less for an apprenticeship job than a normal job. So when they told me this, when they turned their back on their agreement, I turned my back on them and I departed the company. I chose my own path. I go traveling and I come back at a new gym and I lock in like I've never done before. The gym that I go to at that point has some troubles, but it's good enough. I am there consistently and I'm putting in work, and I finally start to see some real noticeable progress. You can see that I'm way bigger than how I've looked previously in these photos. It's also around this time that I start considering starting a YouTube channel or Instagram, but I didn't quite have the confidence for it. At this point, I'm hovering around 70 to mid 70s in terms of body weight, and I'm so consistent on this journey even when I get an email from this same gym saying, oh, by the way, we're closing our doors this evening. I remember as soon as that email came in, I said, I was here in the kitchen, I was talking to my mum and I said, okay, well, I have to work out tomorrow morning. And in that very same evening, I signed up to Pure Gym. And as soon as I get to Pure Gym, I'm hitting new levels of consistency. I'm starting to get my diet down. I've started to really put on more mass. I'm starting to move more weight. I'm starting to hit PRs and my body's looking way more aesthetic than it ever has before. The hard work is really starting to pay off. But something deep within me was telling me that I needed a change. You see, I'd gained this body, I'd gained this aesthetic physique, but I didn't have the confidence that I probably thought it was going to give me. I didn't start an Instagram and I didn't start a YouTube because I was too self-conscious about it. I wasn't confident enough in my body, in my ability, in my knowledge. I knew I needed something to change and I knew I needed it to be drastic. I needed a challenge to push me out of my comfort zone. So I dropped the weights and I picked up the running shoes. I had decided to run the Brighton Marathon. The training starts to really take it out on me. And the increase in calories burned and the tiredness, the time spent training, between that and my life, I found I had absolutely no time to go to the gym, and even if I did, I didn't have the energy for it. For this period of the time, I didn't go to the gym for months, and I honestly lost almost all of my gains. But I wasn't saddened by this. I took this challenge up to prove to myself that I could do things that I don't want to do, to showcase the discipline that I had built over all of these years, to prove to myself that I could show up when nobody was with me. I was constantly training alone and holding myself accountable. And this time of ultimate discipline, this time of ultimate sacrifice and challenging myself is when I started this very YouTube channel. I ran the Brighton Marathon on April 7th, 2024. And as soon as I crossed the finish line, I realized it was time for a new chapter in my life. It was time for me to put on muscle like I've never done before. Because now I'd proved to myself that I had the discipline. I'd proved to myself that I could do it. I could show up when I was alone. I'd proved to myself and I'd gained the confidence that I needed in order to make a change in my life. The marathon training had taught me many things, but one of these things was really getting my nutrition down and getting it correct, making sure that I was eating enough calories. I had developed a system where I was able to get the calories in that I needed whilst not sacrificing too much discipline and not making it really difficult like I did before in the past. I become even more consistent. I'm able to use the skills that I got from the marathon. I end up learning transferable skills that I got from the marathon into my actual weightlifting and into my bodybuilding routines. I end up having way more confidence, and I've actually got my diet 100% down, and I've got my routine down, and I'm in a healthy routine. I know what I'm doing. The day of the marathon, I was around 70 kilograms, probably even less than that. And at the time of the marathon to today, which is around 18 months, now I'm around 86 kilograms. That's 16 kilograms of body weight added on. And you can see with these photos here, it's not like I've just added fat. No, this is majority muscle. In this 1.5 years to 2 years, I simply locked in. I got my nutrition right. I got my diet right. I got my routines correct. And even if they weren't correct, I was still sticking to them, which is what I learned really mattered. It didn't matter that it wasn't perfect or I didn't have the perfect meal, because as long as I was being consistent and as long as I was moving towards my goals, that was enough. And during this time, I learned exactly how to work out when there's no one with you. Nowadays, that's not an issue for me. I'm in the gym almost every single day. But nowadays, I do have a way of ensuring that I stay in the gym. I do have a way of getting myself out of a motivational rut if I need it. I have the discipline now, but if I find myself waning with it and I find myself not having enough of it, I have a buddy that I can bring to the gym, and that's you guys. I'm bringing my camera into the gym. I'm making reels out of it. I finally got the confidence to make the YouTube channel and the Instagram, and as I'm speaking right now, things are starting to do really well, which I'm super grateful for. So right now I'm hovering around 86.5 to 87 kilograms, and I've reached another hurdle. I can't seem to get to 90 kilograms. This is what I really want to get at. I want to get to 90 kilograms, and then I want to lean all the way down. To what weight? Maybe 82 kilograms, something like that. But I do want to get lean. But I have to make it to 90 kilograms. That's the next step of this journey. But from where I was to where I am now, from 70 kilograms, or even less if we go all the way back to 86 kilograms and relatively lean, 86 kilograms and way bigger than I've ever been, is a journey that I am extremely proud of. Thank you for watching this video, and watch this video on how TikTok has brainwashed a generation.